So Zer is here this week, guys. He brought us the exotic Sanguine Alchemy. It comes with the exotic perk Heightened Senses. This exotic is so bad, no one's even rated it on Destiny Item Manager. Like, normally someone comes and drops like a 1-star review, but nobody has even reviewed this thing. Today, guys, we are taking this exotic though, combining it with Empowering Rifts, as that synergizes with that exotic perk, and merging it with the exotic bow, Le Monarque. I know some of you are like, wait a minute, you're saying that wrong. No, I'm not. I went to the French dictionary this morning and I checked it, okay? And that's how you say Lou. You just you say it with a little more gurgle to it. So ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Le Sanguine. Now let's walk through these perks real quick. First up, Heightened Senses. Standing in a rift grants you and your allies heightened senses, allowing you to retain your radar while aiming down sights. Additionally, nearby powerful enemies are visually marked and can be tracked without line of sight. So again, guys, I say about 30 meters. It might actually be a little bit further than that. And I want to say that as long as they step within that radius and then step back out, they're still marked. Now, our exotic bow here, Le Monarque. This one comes with poison arrows as the intrinsic exotic perk. If you're looking for a more in-depth review of this, down below in the description is an exotic review for this weapon. We talk about it. We even paired it with something like Oath Keepers. But essentially, guys, it comes with poison arrows. Arrows fired quickly after a full draw become poison arrows. Precision hits with poison arrows spread poison to nearby enemies. So it does have an AoE effect when landing precision shots, and it has a damage over time effect when getting that perfect draw. And as far as my knowledge goes, in terms of the perfect draw, a great indicator of perfect draw is when you hit max damage. See, anything less than that full draw results in less damage, and anything more or held longer than that full draw is also less damage. So the perfect indicator to me is that I'm hitting the appropriate amount of damage, which is here in Crucible 151 per crit. There's actually a bug or something going on with poison arrows to where it's not working effectively that we're going to talk about in a little more depth later in the video. Now, the rift that we're using here though is Empowering Rift. The reason why we're using this is that it increases weapon damage for those that are inside it. And that increase in damage is actually 181 per crit. So essentially, before this, you were hitting 151 per crit and an extra 24 damage in poison damage. But with this, we essentially elevate our crit damage to now 181 per crit. Poison damage still stays the same, but an extra 24 damage on top of that 181 results in us killing any guardian, even max resilience ones. So yeah, the setup here is a little more difficult, right? You have to get into a location, drop the Empowering Rift. You only have 15 seconds to really take advantage of this, and considering the cooldown of class abilities for warlocks, this can be somewhat aggravating. But lo and behold, boys, we've got mods just for this. In the gameplay you see today, I'm rocking 4 Paragon mods. Essentially increases class ability regeneration speed. On top of that, I'm also rocking the perk found on our boots, Perpetuation. Reduces class ability cooldown when you use your class ability. So needless to say, my class ability regeneration speed was about 30 seconds. And if I had an extra Paragon mod, it could go even further than that. So if you are going to actually rock this build, having Paragon mods will be essential in order to take advantage of those one-hit kills. Now, with all that being said, as nasty as this may appear, I mean, you're essentially giving people the Thorn treatment and one-hit KOing them. And I know there's other ways to do it. I know you can do it with Middle Tree Striker and get Inertia Override. This build, though, oozes a bowman's playstyle, which is why I gotta bring this up. I really like this build. Like, really, guys. I would probably use it a bunch, and I don't even play Warlock a lot. There is a bug going on right now with our exotic bow here, Le Monarque. There was essentially a number of times today and yesterday when I was gathering gameplay that I would land the full crit damage, whether inside of an Empowering Rift or not, and poison damage would not apply. Now, I took to Twitter, I asked some people if they've experienced this, and I was overwhelmed with a number of people saying that they have run into the same thing, where the bow was not proccing poison damage despite it being a perfect draw. And this seemed to be for people on consoles and on PC, which doesn't tell me it's a platform bug, but instead something going on with this bow, which really limits the potential here, especially with a build like this one. Now, some have actually stated that it might be the distance in which you land the shot, stating that anything really far can result in your arrows not proccing that poison damage. But even up close, I mean, look at these clips. This would have been so nasty to end it with the 180 181 and the 3 tick damage over time to finish off that last opponent. So whatever the reason is, it doesn't matter. It needs to be fixed. The only thing that gives this bow value is the fact that it can implant poison damage over time. That's the only thing here that elevates this exotic bow over the rest. And it almost seems like something similar to like Luna's Howl or Not Forgotten and Magnificent Howl. You've probably experienced it where you land 3 crits in a row and you just hit 357s. And Magnificent Howl doesn't proc. I'm not saying that's the same scenario, but I'm just stating that there is another perk and another weapon that seems to have difficulty proccing on precision hits. Now, it doesn't happen that often with Luna's Howl or Not Forgotten, but Monarch, that one seemed to happen a bunch, like 2 or 3 times per game, which is enough for people to not ever use this bow in Crucible. So overall, guys, a really fun build here. One that can definitely take people off guard, especially if you're rocking Paragon mods, bringing that Empowering Rift, dropping them regularly, and grabbing the crit shots to finish them off with damage over time. Hopefully, this bow will actually get looked at again, because I would really like to see it always proc poison damage on perfect draw hits. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.